You know, when it comes to Patreon-sponsored commissioned reviews, which this is, it's not uncommon that they kind of get me to step out of my comfort zone and take in things that I wouldn't otherwise. And sometimes I end up liking it. Sometimes I just kind of have it reinforced, like, no, that's not my thing. But by and large, I do appreciate when that happens. I don't think I've ever been asked to step so far out of my wheelhouse as this. Sonic X Shadow Generations Dark Beginnings. Just to reassure folks who have commissions waiting, I know I jumped on this one a lot quicker from when it was commissioned than usual, but in my defense, this total thing is only 14 minutes long. And also, I kind of want to jump on it while it's topical. And also, like, I asked the commissioner, why do you even want me to look at this? And the main thing just seemed to be to blindside Channel Pup, who, if you don't follow, is a friend of mine. Nice guy. And he does a lot of Sonic stuff. I think the intent of this is just to kind of troll him with a channel that he knows but would not think would ever talk Sonic. Now talking this piece of Sonic. It's not even Sonic, it's Shadow. But yeah, I jumped on this faster than is standard, but it was because it was so short. I am trying to catch up. I feel like I'm doing better this month. I feel like I'm getting more stuff done. Anyways, so what this is, I think this is, if I understand it, this is a prequel to an upcoming game, and this sort of prequel movie-ish thing, 14 minutes total, was released in 3 episode parts. I watched the full compilation of all of them. And it is focusing on Shadow the Hedgehog. Now, I suppose background, I know very little of Sonic anything. Like, I played a little bit of the first Sonic the Hedgehog game. That's about it, though. I didn't grow up on Sonic. I never got into it at a later time. I know that it has a preposterous amount of lore, actually several different canons of it. And I know that the fans who are into it are really into it, which makes me very nervous to talk about it, because I know I'm about to give opinions on something that I know other people are passionate about. With the perspective of an outsider, and please understand that's the perspective I bring. I can't look at this with any perspective except the one that I have. I'm shocked Shadow the Hedgehog is still around, because I remember thinking that sounded like a joke. Because while I've never been into Sonic games, I have been following video game stuff in general, really since the 80s. I got into that initially by being subscribed to Nintendo Power as a kid. And then, once we got the internet, following video game news was one of the things I used it for, even though I knew I wouldn't play most of the stuff that I read about. So when Shadow the Hedgehog first became a thing, it felt like a joke to me. I'm like, really? Really? Like, you're going to the furthest extreme for the fan base that takes Sonic more seriously than it probably should be taken. And you're going to go dark and gritty with it. Okay. I guess that's the thing to do, but it kind of shocks me that he's still around, because the fact that actually landed with enough of the audience for him to stick around is wild to me. Of course, I say that, but I mean, like, seems like they don't let any characters from Sonic go, but they usually don't have them starring or co-starring in too many things. So this still feels like God, this is kind of bonkers to me. But I don't really know Shadow's background. I don't know much. I think if I remember correctly, he was introduced initially as a villain before he got his spinoff. But Knuckles already set the precedent for villains who become allies and or playable, etc., 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 etc. But So we start with a 50-year ago flashback on a space station with Sonic and this young girl, Maria, and we just get general hints of what the deal is. I'm sure this all makes way more sense if you already know who these people are. I don't. Not really. Shadow is apparently a artificial creation, and part of the reason he was created was to try and find a cure for a fatal condition that Maria has. Okay. He's super angsty about it. Even at this opening bit, which is, I think, the thing that threw me off the most, because, like, based off what I'm about to tell you happens, I get being angsty after that. Like, fair. But he's, like, super dark and angsty. And the voice, that voice actor's trying so hard. Bless him. The fact that he's so angsty before anything even goes wrong is very weird to me. Like, it is the epitome of a one-note character. Because what it feels like it should be, that he starts out maybe not as happy-go-lucky as, like, Sonic himself, but a character with some hope for the future. But, like, all the hope is being carried by Maria. He's this absolute sourpuss grump-face guy. And instead of having the arc be he had hope, but then the station that he's on gets attacked and Maria gets killed. I guess props to them for going as hard on that as they did. Jeez. So that happens, but instead of having it be like he had some hope, but then it was killed in front of him and now he doesn't anymore, which is an arc that is a little generic, but I can get behind. Instead, we have grumpy, angsty guy has bad stuff to him and remains grumpy and angsty. And that is the epitome of a one-note character. And again, if you like that note, that's fine. But I don't know what else to tell you. From this thing, he seems like he had the exact same personality and attitude he had before the thing that changed his life and after the thing that changed his life. So what actually changed? Like, as a character. I understand that, like, logistically, he lost somebody he cared about. Did it. But, like, for his characterization, what actually changed? I couldn't spot much. Look, having started on a sour note and probably getting absolutely hammered in the comments by the Sonic fans out there, let me say this up front. Action scenes in this are terrific. Like, they are great. And there's a couple in this. After that sort of initial thing on the space station, we get this stuff with Shadow at this sort of desert kind of setting, and he's fighting robots, and then Rouge the Bat shows up, and Rouge the Bat, I'm not sure there's a better embodiment for the tonal whiplash of the Sonic franchise and the weirdness between how silly it is, but how seriously it takes itself. I don't think there's a better embodiment of that conflict, of that tonal conflict, than having scenes with both Shadow the Hedgehog and Rouge the Bat. Because Shadow the Hedgehog is doing everything with this determined face and this growl in his voice, and he just wants to destroy things and wants to get revenge and wants to find out what happened and get to the truth. And then Rouge the Bat shows up and is sexy. Oh, hey, big boy, how's it going? I'm like, what the fuck? It's like dropping Betty Boop into the middle of Arcane. It's so strange. But again, the action scenes, they certainly work. And I guess Rouge and Shadow cut some kind of deal where she helps him get on a rocket that, like, it's like a space shuttle. Like the space shuttles that the teachers used to make us watch launch on TV when I was a kid in the 80s. That's still what's being sent up into space, even though, like, there's these highly advanced robots all over the place. When is this set? Like, what? Okay, sure, why not? And apparently there's this whole thing because there's this character, Adam, who I guess is like a general now, but he was a kid and he knew Shadow before, except we didn't really see him in that first episode. We get more of a flashback to him, so I don't know what the hell the deal with this guy is. I will say, like, character design wise, having the identifiable feature of him be the two different colored eyes, and so seeing him as a kid and then seeing him as an adult where the actual overall design of the character has changed quite a bit, but you keep those eyes so it's still instant, you remember him. That's a really cool design detail. I actually like that a lot. So props to that. But yeah, and then it just ends with Shadow, launching into space on his quest for revenge, I think? Question mark? Like, this was a very strange experience for me. Again, just because I don't know any of this. I have no idea what's going on. And it is such... Shadow, at least as shown in these 14 minutes, maybe he has more depth than can be shown in 14 minutes, but in the 14 minutes I saw him, this one-note, grim and gritty character alongside this sassy bat and like action scenes that go so hard and look fantastic. Like, Sonic the Hedgehog franchise, what is your tone? For real, what is your tone? Because I can't sort anything from this. Like, if Rouge hadn't shown up, at least the whole thing would have been real consistent tone-wise. Admittedly, maybe it would have been a little one note, so I guess I don't know if that counts as adding layers. I mean, it's a different one-note character, because she doesn't seem like she has a lot more going on other than just like, hey. So at least it's a different note than Shadow is hitting. But yeah, this was real weird. This was a real weird experience to watch. I hope you enjoyed me floundering, trying to describe the experience of watching a prequel mini series of really short episodes leading into a video game I will never play in a franchise that I don't understand. I hope you got enjoyment out of that. May my befuddlement entertain you. What are your thoughts on this? Whatever they are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Patreon pays the bills. It's how I was commissioned to do this. Don't worry too much about it, though. Like, share, subscribe. Those all help as well. But what I really want you to remember... oh, God, I started to do the wrong sign-off. That's how scrambled my brain is right now. Don't worry too much about any of it. We take a relaxed attitude around here, so just come on back next time you need a break. What? I don't know. And now to give thanks to my highest supporting patrons. Robin Moore, Zubin Lutfula, Goddess Elida, Welsh Wrestling Geeks, Oliver B., Melissa Pedersen, Movie Turtle, Ulrich Bogdan, Loki Eris, Melinda Walters, Auntie Kate 808, Becky Sparks, Bernabi Lex the Poodle, Tracy Scrabbit, Angry Kasparov, Dave Hall, Quite Bearish, Rosalind Bennett, Adam RDL Taylor, Pau Baraba Jago, Mira G, and Sir Didymus is my favorite. I don't know, it feels right that it's October the first time you're seeing all three of these at the same time.